If you have been looking for a college romance to read, I got your back with today's recommendations because I have 5 of them and they're all from the Dessert magazine. Hello friends, happy Wednesday. So very excited that you're here. So excited for this video. Originally when I was going to do my opening, I would say if you're on the hunt, but I feel like majority of these series are very popular. And I think a large part of that is because they come from the Dessert magazine. And it was funny because shout out to my Patreon and channel members because when I asked them which video would they most be interested in, today's prompt got the most votes. I think on YouTube, everybody just voted for college romance. So I thought that was very exciting, but I say it's funny because when I started doing research, I was like, you know, I haven't really read many college romance manga from the Dessert magazine, at least where I felt I had enough for 5. So shout out to my friend Liz for helping me to realize, yes, there are at least 5. And so I'm going to feature my 5 favorite and, well, 4 favorite, and one of them that I am wanting to read more of. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I think for number 1, I feel like the one that really set the college romance bar for me personally, and I think is such a gem, is A Sign of Affection. Last week we did the Sign of Affection shoujo quiz. I hope that if you did it, you enjoyed it, and if not, I hope you'll check it out and try in your hand at those 3 questions. But I went through and roughly reread all of this series, all the volumes that I have, except for minus the final, or not the final, the last volume. I still haven't read the latest one, at least in its fullness. I read the beginning, and I was like, this is so cute. I really debated actually having a question on that. But anyway, this series, if you're not familiar with it, is about our main girl. Her name is Yuki, and Yuki cannot hear, and she has been just going through life, doing her thing, and she's on the train one morning, I guess, or one afternoon, and this guy comes up to her, and he is trying to ask her a question, but she can't hear him, and she can't read his lips, and so she thinks, well, maybe he is a foreigner, and that's when our male lead, Itsuomi, comes in, helps the situation in the sense of he helps this, who was not a foreigner, but helped the man, and after that, nothing seems to really go anywhere. I mean, he seems very interested in Yuki, but she thinks, well, maybe I won't see him again, and she's telling her best friend about Itsuomi, and she's like, oh, he's in the international, I was gonna say fan club, the international, I forgot, foreign language club, I think is what it is, but they end up going to some kind of, not really a restaurant, but it's not really a bar, but they do go to, I guess you would say, I don't know what it would be called, but they go to this place where it sells food and it sells alcoholic drinks, or just drinks in general, and they go there and they see that Itsuomi actually works there. Now we're starting to see through Yuki talking to him by writing on a board, using her phone, that she's very interested in him and he seems very interested in her, and so begins this blooming romance. I do have a first impression on volume 1. I've really debated doing a full video review because I truly feel that this is such a special series. What stands out to me, I think personally, when it comes to this series, is it really shows, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, but it really shows that a manga doesn't have to be considered boring once the leads get together. They don't get together in the first volume. It's not super fast paced, so you do see that they are interested in each other, and Itsuomi does not keep that a secret that he wants to be with Yuki, that he wants Yuki to be his girlfriend, and how he goes about that of getting to genuinely know her, even by learning sign language when her family would not even learn sign language, if I might add. But he gets to know her in a variety of ways. Despite that he's off traveling, he always makes time for her. Even further, once they enter into a relationship, I love seeing them have this romance at college, yes, but also them having these steps of wanting to go live together and looking past what it would be for romance if they just were a couple that gets together at the very end of the series. I really, really, really like that. Some of my favorite parts in this manga are specifically when they go start looking for apartments, when Itsuomi meets her family, meets her father specifically, how they get to know each other. It's been very interesting, and I have reread this series, at least the, sorry, I'm looking at my volumes just over there. I still have it out on my dresser from when I filmed, or from when I did that quiz the other day, but I'm pretty sure I have reread the first part of the series probably at least 3+ times. It was a series, like, as soon as I got a new volume, I'm reading it as, like, right after I opened the package. It didn't matter if I was sitting down or not, because I just found this romance so sweet and so swoon-worthy and really touching of how Itsuomi wants to get to know Yuki in every single way possible. And what I mean by that is, again, him learning sign language. I was very blown away. It wasn't like he was doing it to be cool, as somebody accuses him of wanting to do, just to get to know Yuki for the sake of, again, looking cool or some other reason. He really, truly, on a personal level, wants to know Yuki, what she thinks about, what she cares for, how she sees and views the world around her. And I feel like the romance really gets sweeter and sweeter the way Yuki has been there for Itsuomi. There's times where it was really hard. I'm like, Itsuomi, how do you see Yuki? Like, at least in the very beginning. But you can definitely see later on how much he loves and cares for her. I forget, is it his cousin that is like, man, Itsuomi has it bad for this girl. And 100% yes. So if you want a very sweet, fluffy, very wholesome story slash romance, this is such a good one. I mean, I feel like it's everywhere, but I feel like the hype is rightfully deserved. It's a, again, very sweet series, and I need to catch up and read that read the latest volume before the newest one comes out. For number 2, on the flip side, if you're like, you know what, just give me some random shenanigans, just, I wouldn't say unhinged, but just really, truly random shenanigans, I'm gonna say Choking on Love. I absolutely love this series. In fact, I am waiting for my mailman to come to give me, or come deliver, excuse me, volume 5. I absolutely love it so much. In case if you're not familiar with this series, it is about our female lead. Her name is Hibari. She is an art student. She is, I forget what, is she trying to be a graphic designer? I think is what she's trying to be. I know at the very beginning, that's what we see her working on. We see her working on a project, and she's at her job. Things are sort of stressful. I think she's got, like, that's the last day that she can submit it. And then our male lead, Gaku, enters the picture with his band, and more or less they spill water on her laptop and it sort of just fizzles out. And she's really upset. Rightfully so, rightfully so. But Gaku's like, hey, come to my house, borrow my computer, it's my fault, you know, do your project. And he's sort of like inserting what he feels she could do to make the project better. And he's recommending colors that she's like, I would never do this. This is outside of basically her comfort zone, despite that her professor has said, hey, push yourself, do something a little bit different. But she ends up listening to him, much to her dismay, but she does really, really good on her project. And for whatever reason, she sort of just can't seem to shake Gaku, and they enter into a very fast romance. Like, if you don't want any kind of slow burn, you want to see that couple be a couple before the volume even ends, Choking on Love is your kind of manga. It has, as I said, just these crazy shenanigans that really don't, I mean, I want to say don't really have a connection. Gaku is so free-spirited for a male lead that I never know what to expect. And poor Hibari, I find her very relatable, where she just doesn't like going outside of her comfort zone. She's good at certain things, and she likes doing those things because she's good at it and she's familiar with it. But here's Gaku just totally disrupting her whole life for the better, even though she really wrestles with it. So I find the story and the romance very fun and engaging, because Gaku's consistently putting, not pressure, but just challenging her to change. Not for, like, in a bad way where she's not herself, but it's where she's just pushing herself in a way that she might not have done before. Like in the latest volume, with volume 4, with the art festival that's happening at their college, she doesn't really feel like she's gonna sell any shirts. And he's like, have more faith, woman, basically, and has full confidence that her shirts are awesome and that they are going to sell. But Hibari goes the safe route and only prints maybe a few designs on some shirts, and she sells out. And she's like, I should have listened to him, because I would have sold a lot more. And I really love how this romance is coming together, and that it's just fun. At the end of the day, it's a fun, turn off your brain, don't think hard about it, just enjoy these characters, enjoy the decisions that they were making, and enjoying what could be a love triangle, but really isn't a love triangle, because Hibari only has eyes for Gaku, again, much to her dismay. They are very much an opposites attract, because at first, they don't seem like they have anything in common, because I forgot to mention Gaku, well, I know I mentioned he's part of a band, but he is getting a music degree, I believe, and she's in the art degree. And so they don't tend to like cross at all unless they make purposeful decisions, like Gaku jumping out of buildings. Like, why, buddy? Why are we doing that? What did she say? Hibari's like, just be like a normal person and use the stairs. Like, girl, Yes, yes. And maybe that's why I find this romance so fun, is because I relate to Hibari, and so I'm like, you know, would I make the same decisions if I was in her shoes, since I see so much of myself in her? Honestly, also just seeing how she will grow as an individual in this romantic relationship. I'm very excited to see where things go, because volume 4, the way Gaku looked, he was not happy. He was not happy. So yeah, definitely recommending if you want something fast-paced, something free-spirited, something that has music, because that is very well represented in this manga, and I do think stands out when it comes to college romances. It's not just a character who's getting an art degree or a character in a band or getting a music degree where it's just the background thing that gets you in, pulls you in the manga, but then it has no time or attention or focus. No, it ain't like that here. You actually see those. I love the band moments. If this got an anime, I wouldn't be surprised. I would love to see the band in action because they sound amazing. So yeah, if any of those sound interesting to you, I would definitely check it out, and I can't wait for volume 5 to arrive. Hopefully it won't arrive during this video, because otherwise I will completely lose focus and forget what I'm saying. For number 3, this is a digital manga that's on K-Manga, but it does have a physical release coming, and that is You Might As Well Be the One. I would say if you want a very messy college romance, this would probably be your cup of tea. Now, I've only read, I think, roughly what would be considered volume 1 of the manga, and it was not messy yet, but you could tell it's gonna go that direction, and I have seen spoilers unintentionally, so I do know that it's yeah, it's pretty messy. But it's about our main female lead. Her name is Ichika. All she wants is a normal college romance, and she is just not hitting it off with these guys for whatever reason. Some are usually different, like she's gone to mixers, and she's just not finding anybody. And again, all she wants is just this college sweeping romance, and so she decides to go to a mixer with her friends. She's sort of expecting the same kind of thing, even though she's trying not to. She's genuinely trying to be open-minded, but I think the guys start acting a certain way, and she's just like, no, no. But our male lead enters the picture, and she really hits it off with him. Like, so much so that she's starting to find herself falling for him. I cannot remember if her friends warned her, though. They do warn her at some point, but she's trying and failing so hard to keep her heart at a distance. But as the, like, at least in the first chapter, as it goes on, she starts sort of noticing, like, he talks to a lot of different girls, and I think she tells him, like, hey, you know, is that your girlfriend? Or maybe this girl likes you. And he's like, well, I'm only friends with girls with benefits. And she realizes in that moment, he's probably not the person she should fall in love with. But unfortunately, what does her heart do? Fall in love with that very same person. I can't really say it's like a sweeping romance the same way Choking on Love is, or even a sign of affection, because I don't really think they've gotten together officially as a couple. So I guess maybe it's like a one-sided romance. I don't think it is, though. Based off of things I've seen, I do not think it's one-sided, but man, it seems very, very complicated. And I'm like, I don't even know at this point what the solution is. If you're a fan of love triangles, this is definitely one as well. And I feel very conflicted. Like, I was planning to get volume 1, but then when I started seeing how messy it was getting, I'm like, this is a series I definitely would like to read past what I read, because I really enjoyed Ichika's character. There is a reference, sorry, no, I'm going off a bunny trail here, but there's a reference where I think the male lead compliments her posture because she's very tall and she doesn't like hunch or anything. And she's like, is that supposed to be a compliment? He's like, yeah, because most girls would feel insecure if they're as tall as you are. And she doesn't feel that way. So I loved Ichika's character a lot. But back what I was saying before, the new interloper, I don't think he's an interloper. I don't think it's right. This genuinely feels like a love triangle. That man, oh, he seems so wonderful for Ichika. Like, he seems to absolutely adore our male lead. I feel like he likes her, but I don't know what that male lead is doing, honestly. I feel like he is just holding himself back for some reason, but it's not necessarily like to protect her because he knows he wouldn't be a good fit. I'm not really sure what those reasonings are, but I didn't really dislike him either. Yes, we know that he only is hanging out with girls if they'll give him some benefits, but like outside of that, I didn't like hate his guts or anything. I thought him a very interesting character, and I do feel if he could just be genuine and honest and actually commit to a relationship, I think him and the female lead would hit it off really well. I feel bad for Ichika and just how she seems, despite that she told herself not to fall in love with this person, she really seems to care for him, and I just don't know if she's going to be able to move on and instead date the other guy. I feel bad. Look, I don't know the main male lead very well, but from what I've seen of spoilers for the other dude, he seems the perfect choice. He seems like the best choice in this situation, but I don't know, and I'm not really sure how this series ends. I mean, all the other ones, like The Sign of Affection, Choking on Love, are ongoing, but you're not seeing that guaranteed they're going to get together in the, like, first volume or within, like, 5 volumes. You're not seeing that, and you might as well be the one. So again, if you want that, you want a lot of messiness, you like a love triangle, and you want it set at a college campus, and I mean, it's still a college romance, but a very complicated one, then yeah, this would be what I would definitely recommend. Like I said, I can't remember when it comes out, but I'll leave the date here. I believe it's coming up this summer, because I thought originally it was going to be in the fall, but it's not. It's somewhere before that time. But for number 4, if you would like something that's a lot less messy, has some mess though, I ain't gonna lie, and you like second chance romance, First Love, Worst Love, it is on K-Manga. We do not have a physical license of this, which is such a shame. Please, this summer, I would love to see it happen because it is a very fun and wonderful story. It's about our female lead when she was, I believe, like basically in middle school. She's dating the male lead, Yori-kun. He just feels so dazzling to her. He's so popular, and she really can't believe that this wonderful guy would actually date her. But they have some, not issues in their relationship, but Yori-kun does like to be the center of attention. He is very prideful, and he doesn't like anybody beating him. So when they decide that they're going to work hard together to get into this certain high school, well, our female lead gets in and Yori-kun doesn't. And their relationship sort of just disintegrates. He doesn't talk to her anymore. I think he didn't block her. She blocks him, but they just don't talk. And so when she goes to high school and everything, but when it's time to go to college, she decides she's gonna go to a college in a different town, so she doesn't risk bumping into him or anything, but her plan completely backfires. Because who is her neighbor? Her ex-boyfriend, Yori-kun, and he is surprised to see her, but we find out that he still really cares for her. And he's like, hey, let's get back together. And she's like, are you out of your mind? Absolutely not. Not after what you did. She's like, you just, what did she say? She says something where she starts crying, and she basically just feels that he really didn't love her the same way she loved him and doesn't want to be made a fool again. But then he starts crying, and he's like, you didn't realize how I felt about you. And so now he is determined to make him be her next love. And so begins and unfolds this hilarious story. I have loved it so much. I feel very confident that I talked about this in my K-Manga video, 5 recommendations I would give that are on K-Manga. I feel like this put me on game for how wonderful and fun second chance romances can be. Not only that, like there's a lot of comedy, a lot of humor, but I really love seeing the growth of both of the characters. This last chapter, where it ended, I was squealing, and I was so bummed that people spoiled that chapter, like the ending of it. Like, no, I mean, it's so good. I totally get wanting to spoil it, but I feel it is something that should just be read without those spoilers and knowing like this is where we started in the beginning. This is how hard it is. Both of our lead, well, we don't see much from Yori-kun's perspective. Like, it's very rare. Like, I know we had one chapter or like half a chapter dedicated to him. So good to see from his point of view. But from our female lead's point of view, you can see she's really struggling. Like, she's got, I don't want to say baggage, but I feel like that's sort of a proper word where she just hasn't really worked through those feelings. And now she's being forced to realize, does she still love Yori-kun? Can she fall back in love with a person who was different when they were a teen to how they are now? And all of these, I guess, like factors with that, weighing the pros and cons. It's very heartfelt at times and very emotional, but also very surprising when these leads just blow you away in these really great decisions. They're like, wow, that was really mature of you, really shows how you have grown and changed as a person, and really thinking about what you feel and what you want. I cannot recommend it enough. Again, I love it so much. Yori-kun's confidence is out of this world. I'm like, him and Gaku, I feel like would be best friends. Maybe, because, I don't know, Gaku's very free-spirited, but I just feel like they could really hit it off and how, I don't want to say selfish because I don't want to make them seem like bad male leads, but they're very full of themselves. They have a lot of confidence. It's like, dude, where are you getting this from? How can you feel so like, yes, where there's no plan B, C, or D, like this is it and it will work out great. Both of them have that in spades. And it's really, really amazing to read about because I'm like, I don't have that kind of confidence like that. So I find that very fun. And also too, and I feel bad for how it complicates things for the female lead when both of them, including Hibari, are they're pretty quiet and reserved people. And so they just sort of do their thing and the male lead just like, we're just gonna make your life chaos. But again, unlike You Might As Well Be the One, it doesn't have that love triangle. It doesn't have the same messiness. I feel like from what I've seen, I'm not sure if it's accurate to say, where you're struggling between who do I date moving forward in a romance with, while I feel like her female lead is just struggling with, you know, do I date this guy again? Is he different from what he was before? How do I know that these feelings are new and I truly love the person standing in front of me and not just who they once were? Love those deep questions, especially in such a humorous series where he, again, just has his confidence. So he's like, you're gonna date me again. You're gonna love me again. And so, yeah, I, again, can't recommend it enough. I love it so incredibly much. And then I guess if you want another romantic comedy, but you just want fluff and pure fun, no drama, then you will probably love Hitting Rewind with You. This is such an engaging series. I do have a first impression of Volume 1. I think it was just more of the timing. I didn't have like a glowing review at that time, but I have read Volume 2 and I did like Volume 2 a lot more. So it's about our female lead. Her name is Wakaba, and she just sort of has this dream, this longing to live out this high school romance. She's in college now though, but she wants to be able to experience all those firsts from back then because she was busy studying, I believe, and so that just wasn't like her priority. Now she's in college and it's Halloween and she decides to dress up as a high schooler. She ends up meeting our male lead, who's also dressed as a high schooler. Wakaba, I think, almost gets roped in with these sketchy guys, and he basically swoops in, has them go off, and I forget how they start going though on this date, reliving out what you could do on a high school date. And she's having a blast, even though she feels bad. She's like, I've roped this high schooler into doing these things, like going to a photo booth, them hugging. Well, they get stopped coming home. They get stopped by the police and they're like, hey, you're outside, out here past curfew, what are you doing? Let me see your IDs. Well, both of them find out. Well, we know Wakaba is in college, but we find out the male lead is also in college, and they're so shocked to find out that they're not high schoolers, that they are college aged. And for whatever reason, our male lead graciously agrees to meet back with Wakaba to sort of help live out these high school fantasies, for the lack of a better word. But it starts getting real past them going to high school, sitting at the desk behind one another, avoiding getting caught at high school because they're not supposed to be there. And yeah, them entering into a real romance where they genuinely are starting to care for one another. I feel like what makes this series so much fun and so special and really stands out compared to other series is Wakaba's very hilarious expressions. This is one, now I've said it before that I'm not one who will go and buy manga for the art alone. That's sort of against my manga buying rule that I have, but her expressions are just so funny, and her sincerity through her, what does she say? She says something in volume 2 where she thanks him because she's like, or I know that somewhere in there, okay? But she tells him, I think it would be fine with you because you've seen all the cringy parts of me and still have like hung out with me and whatnot. And it is so incredibly true that I don't mean as a diss to her though, but she has acted cringy around him. I think it's cute. I think it's very funny in that. And I'm like, you go girl, you go girl, do your thing. This is when she saw him shirtless. trying not to look, but obviously she is very much looking. And so I think it's very fun that he does just seem, he's seen all of the worst parts of her, but still is having a blast and having a fun time, and he just rolls with it. Like, I really admire how he'll just go with things and has, I'd say for Wakaba that she doesn't have any shame because I really feel like she doesn't, or if she does, she's just able to overlook that shame and just go for what she is wanting or hoping. It's a really great time, and I'm truly glad that I came back to it because I think volume 1 honestly was just timing, because volume 2 was a lot funner. I had a great time, and I think it's just, I was trying to find some more funny illustrations for you guys, and the story itself is really great too. I really appreciate how, like, it may seem at first like a high school romance, but then when you get into volume 2, you can see that college romance setting. You can see them doing things on campus together. I mean, you see them still doing high school activities, just not the same amount. I really feel that they're starting to fall in love with each other and grow as an actual college, hopefully soon to be couple. This series is completed at 5 volumes. I can't remember if we've got the final volume up. I know volume 4 though comes out. Volume 3 and volume 4 do have pre-orders. So yes, I cannot wait. I would definitely again recommend it if you want some fluffy romance that will just make you laugh and is easygoing, and again, no kind of drama. But I would love to hear from you, friends. What are some of your favorite college romances, whether it's from dessert or not? I would love to know, because I'm really excited that we're getting the surgence of college romance. Like, yes, I love seeing it. So let me know down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!